Now, we're here in Panama City Beach because we have an opportunity to do something that really is a grassroots movement on boater freedom. And I'll talk about what we're looking to do and what Senator Trumbull is pushing in the Senate in a minute. But this is something that has grown out of people reporting to elected officials like Senator Trumbull, like me, about what needs to be done to make it better for boating and fishing in the state of Florida. Now, we have the top state in the country for boating and fishing anywhere, probably anywhere in the world, but certainly anywhere in the United States. And it's not even really close. Our recreational boating industry alone is $31.3 billion annually. And that's a 53% increase since 2018. You know, what happened? When people started flooding down here, and, you know, some of this is good. It can help the economy. And certainly boats never did better. I mean, these people couldn't make the boats fast enough because people would come from north and they'd say, okay, you're in Florida. You got a boat. You got to fish. So we got to do this. And so they bought all these boats. And like these guys are making boats in Florida, had never done better. You know, the problem is they didn't really know how to navigate with these boats because they hadn't done it before. And so we've kind of had some growing pains there. I think people see kind of some of the newer newly minted captains and kind of getting their sea legs. But the reality is it's been a big boom. We are now home to over 7,000 marine businesses, and that equates to over 100,000 jobs across the state of Florida just for the boating industry. In 2023, we surpassed 922,000 boat registrations statewide in the state of Florida. We are #1 in marine expenditures, and we have the most boats of any place in the country. We also have 4 million licensed anglers. And as I said, we're without peer when it comes to fishing. And look what we've done with Gulf red snapper, you know, 105 days. Like, you know, we took the bull by the horns on that one, and we're delivering great opportunity. Incidentally, I'm asking the Department of Commerce, which oversees NOAA, to take the success that we've had with state-managed Gulf red snapper and let the state of Florida manage Atlantic red snapper. You know how many days they gave in 24? They gave, well, 1 or 2, depending, but literally, you know, they'll do a day, they'll do 2 days. There's a lot of red snapper out there. This is bogus data, just like it was bogus in the Gulf. I don't think it's ever been healthier now as we've expanded the season. So we give us the opportunity to manage that. And I told the Secretary of Commerce, I was like, you know, we go out on the Atlantic coast and announce this. It's going to be huge support for being able to have an evidence-based red snapper season where there's a lot of red snapper out there. So we're working on that for sure. We want to make sure that we're able to do that. We've done a lot of different things over the years to be able to help this. I mean, we do the outdoor tax holiday over the summer for all these different supplies. It's been really fantastic. We also are proposing this year a marine fuel tax holiday over the summer, so no tax on marine fuel, which I know a lot of people who are boating would really like to see. So we're looking at what can we do given what's going on with how great this industry is, how great the recreational pursuits, the culture, everything that goes into it. And with this Boater Freedom Act, which Senator Trumbull is spearheading in the Senate, you also have Griffiths doing it in the House, but I'll say some in a minute. The House, you know, really looks more intent to obstruct it than to actually pass it, even though our voters have been very clear to us that we want to see it passed. But this thing is, I think, something that was really important. One, it will establish the right to boat by preempting local governments from banning the sale or use of boats based on fuel sources. Now, this probably wouldn't happen in Bay County, but there may be some counties where they will say, well, you will not be able to purchase a gas-powered boat in the future. You can only do electric and all that. There's people that actually want to do that. That's not flying in the state of Florida. That's your choice, which type of boat you want to use or which type of boat you want to sell or which boat that much you want to purchase. That is up to you. So we will ensure you can buy the vessel you want, and we will also maintain protections that we have that are common sense. I mean, we do have seagrass protection, manatee zones, wake speeds. That's fine. That's good. But don't tell us what type of boats that we have to buy. The bill will also right a wrong that has been an issue for far too long, and will finally bring it to an end. Current law allows both state and also local law enforcement to pull a boater over when no probable cause or suspected violation has occurred, and they can conduct inspections without having even a pretext to do so. This could include personal property searches, sometimes leads to further law enforcement action beyond safety compliance. While laws previously passed have attempted to solve this, the problem persists, and our voters let us know that the problem persists. Therefore, as part of the Boater Freedom Act, we will end this practice by prohibiting the use of a safety inspection as probable cause to pull over a boater. You have to have real probable cause if you want to pull over a boater, and that's going to be the law in the state of Florida. And this is a very fair and balanced approach, and you absolutely have the ability, if somebody is doing something wrong, you absolutely have the ability to make sure that the law is enforced. The bill also directs FWC to work with tax collectors to proactively provide a Florida Freedom Boater decal at registration. This decal will assure law enforcement that the boater has done the due diligence of inspecting and maintaining proper boater safety requirements. And so there's no need to mess with if you see that, which I think is really, really good. And look, FWC does a great job. Our local partners do a great job in a variety of capacities. And you've had FWC, you've had locals be involved in things. I mean, we had kids polluting waterways, dumping full trash cans of trash off their boat, and you had folks there that work for us that help stop that, and that's the right thing to do. But by unlimiting unwarranted vessel inspections without probable cause, FWC officers can better allocate resources and time to cases where there is a clear need for intervention, protecting wildlife, and ultimately doing the work that they do. And I think most people agree that's a more common sense approach. This will increase the strength of the relationships between officers and the boating community. The Act also strikes an appropriate balance between ensuring compliance with boating laws and reducing unnecessary disruptions for law-abiding boaters, making enforcement more practical and effective. Finally, the bill will also invest in additional boat ramps, parking, and marina programs through FWC that will ensure the public has access to the waters of our great state, all the way from Biscayne Bay to here, right on the newly named Gulf of America along the west coast of Florida. Now, I mentioned that Senator Trumbull is spearheading this in the Senate. It's moving through. It's got a lot of bipartisan support. People understand this is not something that Senator Trumbull or I just kind of cooked up on our own or trying to foist through. This is something that's a response to boaters throughout Florida who have reported what they would like to see to be able to strengthen this great pastime and to help this really important part of our state's culture. And so that's why it's gotten support. That's why they're doing it. Now, the Florida House of Representatives, as has been true, unfortunately, for the last couple months, they seem to be more interested in obstructing the passage of this legislation. They seem to have taken this weird tack where they're coming in and they have this massive supermajority that they built off the work of many others, to be quite frank, and they come in and they're trying to undo a lot of the stuff that Jay and I and others worked for over many, many years without campaigning on any of this, without telling voters that this is what you want to do. But then you turn around, and who are they doing the bidding for? Not you, but people like Morgan and Morgan. I don't want the state run by Morgan and Morgan. I want the state run by what the people voted for. And so you have this thing where they're trying to repeal progress, They never told the voters they would do this. And then they basically take a tack. Well, if the voters are asking us to do something and we're leading on that, then they're just going to try to obstruct for the sake of obstruction. That's not what you voted for. You voted for people to continue the success of Florida and what we've been able to accomplish over these many years. And I think to waste this with these antics and refusing to actually do the people's work, that just doesn't make sense. I mean, just think about taxes. I was going out for many months because of listening to people like you talking about the need for property tax relief. People are getting killed on property taxes. What do? Because I'm doing property, so they got to do something else. They want to do tax cuts for Canadian tourists and for non-residents. Why would we ever be doing that? We should be doing property tax, but it's just because they got to be obstruction. It's just because they got to be different. In fact, they brought into the party a liberal Democrat from down in South Florida. She switches parties to be Republican, even though she's very, very liberal and opposed us on everything for 6 years. Very liberal, now in charge of a major committee, running all this liberal legislation, getting all this stuff in the budget. And I'm thinking to myself, is that what you voted for in Bay County, to turn the reins over to some liberal rep in Broward County? Nobody campaigned on that. That was not what you were doing. So this is just another example. I mean, I would think that reps would be wanting to do something that the voter freedom is. And because it's not something I cooked up, it's not something Jay Trumbull cooked up, it's something that people have been asking for, really for many years, but certainly in more recent times, this has been something that's been very important. And so we're listening to the folks and we're delivering those results to them. So I want to commend Senator Trumbull and the other members of the Senate who've really worked hard to be able to move this forward. If it doesn't pass the House, it's only because of them taking an obstructionist bent, not because it doesn't have support from the vast majority of folks throughout the state of Florida and even in that particular chamber. So let's get this done. I look forward to the Senate continuing to pursue this. I think this will make a real positive difference in the lives of Floridians, but particularly with respect to our boating community. So thank you, everybody.